Welcome back to a course on Calculus RS integration course. In this lecture, we are going to see a theorem that tells you if f and g are RS integrable on the interval AB, then we'll have to prove the product of these two functions f and g is also RS integrable on the same thing, on the same interval. And in the second part of this theorem, we'll have to prove absolute of this function is also RS integrable on the same interval, and integral a to b f d alpha absolute of this value is smaller than or equals integral a to b absolute of f d alpha. This is what we'll have to prove in this theorem. Okay, let us get into the proof. So for which we'll make use of few of the previous results. Okay, initially to prove the first one, let us take phi of t to be t square. Okay, just phi of t, then phi of t being a monomial in R is continuous. What I'm trying to say here is it is a monomial. All the monomials on the entire real line is continuous. This is what we have proved in the course of calculus limits and continuity. So this is a continuous thing. Hence, what can we say? If we have a continuous function and if we have any function which is RS integrable, the composition of these two things will have to be RS integrable. So that is what we are going to do. If this is continuous on the entire R, it has to be, this tells you that your phi of t is continuous in any subinterval of R, right? Okay, now given f is Riemann-Stieltjes integrable and g is also Riemann-Stieltjes integrable, and using this, what are we going to do is that using the first property, that is f plus g and f minus g are also Riemann-Stieltjes integrable. That is what we have proved in the properties of integrals. Okay, this f1 plus f2 is RS integrable, and if you have any constant and you multiply that constant, c can be any constant. Therefore, if you multiply minus 1 with function f2, that becomes minus f2. Okay, therefore f1 plus minus f2 is also RS integrable. Using that idea, we have written these two things. Okay, we know that here we have made use of f and fe, these notations. So hence let me use the same thing. Okay, if r is, sorry, if f is RS integrable and phi of t is continuous on m comma m, where your small m less than or equals f of x less than or equals m for all x in the interval ab, then the composition phi of f is also Riemann-Stieltjes integrable. This is one of the result that we have seen, right? Here you see this phi of t is continuous on any subinterval of R. So whatever may be this closed interval that you are going to get out of this f plus g and f minus g, your phi of t is going to be continuous in that thing. Okay, so f is RS integrable on AB means your phi of S composition is also RS integrable on the same interval AB. This is what that theorem tells. Hence, your F plus G whole square and F minus G whole square are also RS integrable. Now, again making use of the properties of the function, your F plus G whole square minus F minus G whole square is also RS integrable. Now, if you make use of the binomial expansion, this would give you what? F squared plus G squared plus 2FG minus F squared plus G squared minus 2FG is also RS integrable. And F square and G square gets cancelled and you will be left with what? 4 times of Fg is RS integrable, and this very well tells you that 1 upon 4 times of 4Fg is also RS integrable. Okay, why are we writing like this? If you see here, the C, it is given that the C may be any constant, so I am taking the C to be 1 upon 4, and then this tells us that Fg is RS integrable, right? And in the second, now let us move to the second part of this theorem. In the second part, here consider phi of t to be absolute of t. Clearly, your phi of t is continuous on entire R. Therefore, phi of t must be continuous on every subinterval of R, right? Now again just make use of the composition of those two functions. Hence, phi of f, that is absolute of f, is RS integrable. I have just made use of the theorem that I stated in the previous page. That's it. So this is RS integrable. This is RS integrable. This we have proved. Next, what should we prove? We will have to prove what is the integral value. Okay, we are given that f is RS integrable. Okay, RS integrable means what? RS integrable on the interval AB. So this is given. It means integral A to B f d alpha is a finite value. So this is what it means. Here it is said that it is a finite value, but we do not know whether this is a positive quantity or negative quantity. So let us choose C to be either plus 1 or minus 1 such that C multiplied with this quantity is non-negative. If this quantity is a positive one, then we shall have C to be 1. If this is a negative quantity, we shall multiply minus 1 and we shall make this integral to be non-negative. So we have done this one, right? Now let us prove the rest of the things here itself. Now integral A to B f d alpha. So this is going to be equal to C times of integral A to B f d alpha. Am I right? So whatever may be the value of this quantity. Okay, here if needed, let us have this integral A to B f d alpha to be some quantity z, right? If it is so, I don't know whether this is plus or minus. If z is okay, if z is 0, if z is positive, then C is 1. If Z is negative, then C is minus 1. Now this means what? Absolute of Z, it is same as that of whether you multiply minus or plus 1 with C, right? So that is what here we mean. And by the properties of integrals, we shall take this C inside. Now we will have to make some important observation, and that is going to help us. Now let us compare this two things. Okay, so this is what? This is less than or equals this. Am I right? I don't know whether my function, the function f, it means like I will have to compare minus f with f as well as f with f. Here it is going to be the case. Here it will be the case. So combining these two things, what I am going to get? So I am going to get CF is smaller than or equals absolute of f here. Okay. So what do we do here is that we mark this as equation 1 and observe that your CF is smaller than or equals absolute of f. Okay, now let us go back and see the properties of these things. Look at the property B. Here, if f1 of x is smaller than or equals f2 of x on the specified interval, then the same inequality is followed by the integral values. Okay, here let us state that and observe this one, and we know that if f1 smaller than or equals f2 on entire interval AB, then integral a to b f1 d alpha is smaller than or equals integral a to b f2 d alpha. Okay, hence your integral a to b f d alpha is smaller than or equals integral a to b absolute of f d alpha, because this quantity alone, the last quantity in the inequality, in the equation 1, this becomes smaller than or equals integral a to b absolute of f d alpha. I made the comparison between the first and last term, and this completes the proof. Thank you.